here we go. Good morning. I am Jason. We're here with Jason Carey Guitar, and I'm your host for this morning. And good morning, Kevin Haas. Before everybody jumps on, I just wanted to let you know I will send you a link after this session so that we can get going on our time together today. Probably closer to 8:45, if that's okay for you. If we need to make adjustments, I know that we didn't communicate much over the holiday weekend, so I do want to go ahead and give us an opportunity to do that today if we need to. So, all right, good morning all pickers. And we're starting out with, let's go ahead and tune this puppy up. These puppies need a little bit of care and a little bit of attention. So we have the A440. Good morning, Sky. B, good morning. Good morning, Justin. Good morning, Mark. Good morning. We've got quite a picking family going here, don't we? Yeah. I'm trying something a little different today. I've got some cold brew honey bean. A little honey bean in the cup this morning. We'll see how that works out. And let me just go ahead and, okay. Let me just go ahead and get this A dialed in for my own person. That seems like that should do it. We'll start with a good solid breath in. I'll go ahead and give that a good start. We'll go ahead and breathe in, and we'll try to fill up all the way to the tops of our heads, certainly our lungs and our bellies. And we'll breathe out again through the nose, and then we'll go ahead and do the same thing again. This time we'll do it one more time, but we'll exhale through the mouth. Just let it go. I think we're pretty close to being ready to get the tuning up today. Angshita, we've been looking at your channel, man. You've got a load of talent over there. Great voice, great guitar playing skills. So thank you for being here with us. It gives us all a sort of an affirmation that there is talent at the other end of these screens. Too well unless you're working on the old. Unless you're you can play the G sharp and the E together in the same chord, but don't expect it to like live nicely and play nicely in an E major triad. Here's how it could work though. can't join this morning, but we'll watch the video later. Hey, Jill, sounds like a plan. Hope you have a wonderful morning and a good quality start to your day. B, good morning. I think I checked out your website. I'm not sure. I sent a message to confirm if it was you or not, and I'm not sure I got a video back or a response back. But Curtis Walton, good morning. We're getting ready to start our journey. So this is, it happens every weekday morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Every weekday morning, with the exception of yesterday. We did a field trip yesterday, and we took you on it if you wanted to join. We had a wonderful, wonderful Memorial Day observance yesterday, and we hope you did too, and your families did as well. It was, we actually rolled into a Memorial Day service, which I did not know was going to happen. We had an entirely different plan for the morning, but the service there was like unlike any other I'd seen. So it was really a really great time to be there with a brother, a veteran, and it was a really great experience. And I'm so glad that some of you jumped in and took the ride over to mini Arlington with us, you know. To the oldest veteran cemetery in the country. Yeah, really good day, great day. So without further ado, let's just say hi and happy Tuesday. I'm going to work on setting my intention really, really precisely for myself today. It's going to be specifically dedicated to working every single note with intention during this session. That's what I'm hoping to accomplish today. And breath is really going to govern that. So let's go ahead and get it going. We have Anthony on board. We've got Curtis Walton, Angsheet, Justin, I saw you on board. Did you get my email, Justin? What a great song. What a wonderful song. I'm a dog lover. Do I have an electric one? Yeah, I do. I have a couple, but here's one. Here's one. Ooh la la. They're everywhere. They're just like everywhere. They're like little Smurfs. 1 E and 2, 60 beats per minute, and we're using fingers 3 and 4 on frets 10 and 12. 10 and 12, and then we're going to ascend one position, drop or descend that pattern, or ascend that pattern, descend one position, and descend that pattern. So let's go ahead, without further ado, let's get started. And please join me. If you don't have your guitar, you have plenty of time to go and grab your guitar now. 1 E and a 2, you know what to do. Super simple, you know. Some of us might look at this like, what is he doing? What? He's doing the same exact thing every day on the internet. What? Well, I would do it on the internet or off the internet. But it's not exactly the same thing every day. Oh, here's the 0 fret. If you want to get away from, if you want to both expand the open position or just sort of ascend up and out of the open position, we do have a lovely new, free for the time being, 5x5 for guitar growth PDF, which can be found at jasoncareyguitar.com. So you can run on over there and get it for free if you like, and just absorb what you can of it when you can. It's not a hurry. It's more about just like, it's part of just getting to be, absorbing it, and it becomes sort of slowly who we are. Our careful nature of how we approach an instrument or a life or, an instance or whatever, a moment or a collection of moments. So there are 5 things to really study, and then under each 5 thing, each item in the list, there are another 5 things to kind of think about. 1 E and a 2, 2 and 3 on 10 and 12. And you can get it for free if you like. Or if you'd not like, then of course, you're free to not like, then of course, you're free to not go over to jasoncareyguitar.com and download it as well. That's also an option. But it's free, so why not? And you can jump on the mailing list while you're over there if you like. Keep in touch with upcoming programs and upcoming events. Not working on really teasing a whole lot of stuff here, but we're not the spammy type. We're if you've been around here, you know who we are, roughly who we are. And hopefully with all of the fame and fortune to come, we will remain the same kind of quality human beings as we grow together. All right, fingers 1 and 2 on frets 10 and 12. 1 E and a 2. Phil Smith's in the house. Good morning. Oh, Mark, nice job with the welcoming committee, getting Curtis all situated and welcomed. Very nice. Sandra Willoughby, hey, good morning. Thank you for checking it out. Thank you for visiting. Certainly appreciate your arrival here, and stick around. I think you might have some interest in sticking around. If you have specific questions that are related to guitar or guitar warm-ups, you can check those out right here in the live stream. The live stream is like a really great guitar forum that's populated with other guitar players from around the world, super accomplished players. Some of us are just beginners or neophyte. Some of us are raging professionals, and we're touring the world, ready for domination everywhere we touch down. So it really depends on where you are and what goals you might have. Good. Fingers 1 and 2, stretches between fingers 3 and 4, and 2 and 3, and 1 and 2 are now complete. That leaves us with another 2-finger grouping, which is fingers 2 and 4. So these are contiguous fingers, now non-contiguous fingers that have another finger groups that have another finger separated. So 2 and 4. Then what we'll do, I'll tell you what, after we do that, we'll go through 1 and 3. And then today, maybe we'll even incorporate the thumb on the front of the fretboard, because that is not to be overlooked. And you think maybe this is kind of an absurdity, but it's not. 1 E and a 2, fingers 2 and 4, here we go. 9 and 12. I did reply, so if it didn't come through, please let me know. Oh, okay. I haven't seen it, but it's you. That looks great, man. Your site looks wonderful. I'm not sure who's doing your site work, but wonderful, wonderful, inspiring place to visit. Oh yeah. So thanks, Sheeta says thanks, Jason. Your appreciation means a lot. I think anytime we can receive good news, we want to certainly learn how to receive that with gratitude and with a deep, heartfelt appreciation. And that's so your response seems to be like a good fit. It's exciting to have others appreciate our craft. It is. It absolutely is. So 1 and 3 on 9 and 12. 1 E and a 2, and what are we doing here? We're just working through each single moment with the guitar in hand, just getting through the morning ritual warm-up, breathing in and breathing out. Through the nose, in through the nose, and out through the nose, with a solid level of control. Make the note short without changing our breath pattern. Good. We can. Let's do one more 2-finger grouping. Fret 7 and 12. 1 E and a 2, 3 and a 4 E and. Hey, Be Back is back. What's going on? Glad to have you here. Almost time for a stretch. Good. Just about time for a stretch. It is now time for a stretch. So 16 clicks here. And this is usually where we reel in all of our viewers. That just these stretches are like glue. They're viewer magnets, you know, or bozo magnet, right? Oh, geez, no, don't come for the stretch. Come for the lifestyle, right? Come for the lifestyle. The you know, we want to sit with the guitar every day anyway, so we have no problem with letting 16 clicks go by. Phil Smith, what's going on? Yeah, I know what you mean. So why don't are you still here, Phil Smith? We do this 5 days a week, Phil. Sky, very cool. I'm driving to work, so listening and practicing on the steering wheel. Yeah, just like the old Billy Sheehan. That's what he was doing. He practiced on the little ribbed, you know, where the top of the leather seat meets the bottom leather seat, the undercarriage. There was that little finishing rib that goes around. He'd use that. It's about the same size as a bass guitar string, so he would use that as his place to practice his certainly his right hand techniques and that kind of stuff. Yes. Jim Chapin. So do you know? You guys all know the Harry Chapin, right? So Jim was telling Mr. the old man Chapin, Jim, drummer, father of the songwriter Harry Chapin, was telling me, he said, let's go look at my car, because no, I practice all the time, literally. And I'm like, okay, so what are we going to do? Why are we going to look at your car? And so I couldn't believe my eyes. We got out to the parking lot and I looked at his car, inside his car. And he has his entire dashboard is all like been wrecked, because like he's like practicing with drumsticks while he drove. Yeah, just completely dismantled his like whole dash system, because he had, you know, he clearly had places that he was like playing ride, and then he clearly had places he was playing hats, and just you do what you got to do, right? You do what you got to do, but you know, by all means, stay safe. Stay safe. Let's do the thumb. All right, Happy. Let's go ahead and do the thumb. Hey, Uncle. Woohoo! Yeah. All right, very cool. Can you do A major scale? Hey, Ben Honeywell. Yeah, stick around. Maybe we'll do. I like to do a specialization at the end of every session. So maybe we can work the A major scale into some kind of a specialization today. So great question. Stick around. You might like what's happening. So grab your guitar and, you know, practice with us. And now that we have brand new arms and wrists and fingers, why don't we go ahead and start practicing again? And this time we'll go ahead and practice appreciating all of the newfound glory in our upper limbs, okay? Here we go. Let's go ahead and do that. Fingers 1, thumb and 3. Okay. So if you were working on, let's just do this one time, because this is, the thumb would be here for, and we'll have to make some decisions about where we would like to have the thumb. The counterbalance comes from no longer having the thumb behind the fretboard to push forward and pull back. So that push, that when we pull back, the guitar just kind of keeps coming. So we'll have to use our forearms and almost reposition our forearms on the surface of the guitar to provide that counterbalance, right? So we'll have to position that carefully. And we'll start with 9 and 12 first. So 9 and 12, 1 E and a 2, T, E and a 4. And this is once we start bringing the thumb out from behind the guitar neck, we have to make some concessions. Obviously, I'm no good at it, right? But let's go ahead and just kind of figure out where. I don't really want to be on the thumbnail, right? I want to be closer to like a digit, this part of the digit that can actually do the fret positively. So I'm going to start with fingers 1 and 2 and then use 9 and 12. And that thumb is going to move up to the A string. And as we move to the next strings, we're going to find that comfortable spot that we planned on using is not going to be acceptable, because when we get deeper into the string set, this is going to be, this digit's going to run into the other larger strings. So what we learn really quickly when we observe this, we have to be right here on the thumb in order to, articulate the notes accurately. So I'm thinking that where I thought I was going to be with the thumb, I could also turn the thumb around and grab, I might need this at some point to be able to use that as a pivot point to grab a little bit higher fret. So this is going to require sort of like surgical sort of procedure, and it's something that maybe you get into, maybe you don't, but if you wanted to work it into some of your arrangements, that's what this kind of thing would be for, this kind of specialization. But if you're someone like Stanley Jordan or, Clark, you'd get maybe, who's the tweaker by the speaker? Was it Williams? Tweaker by the speaker or freaker by the speaker. It was Keller Williams. Is it Keller? You wouldn't guess that, these people are definitely doing this. Take It Khaki King, maybe. Khaki's quite a player, percussive player, and then you see stuff like this happening all the time in the world of the guitar, and you're just like, maybe that's not for me. Well, this is how I would make it for me. I'd go through the motions of probably not even eighth notes. I'd probably look for quarter notes in order to get that sort of up and running and feeling good before I started taking it for a legitimate walk. That ascending pattern's horrible. Let's go ahead and just clean that up. And everything that we do with this finger grouping, it might be a good idea. It might be a good idea to also think about, getting back to fret number 5, because this is what the real issue is to improve our stretchability. So fingers, thumb on the 5th fret, 4th finger, pinky finger on fret 12. Good luck with that. So 1 note per attack. note per click, one attack per click. This is a really disorienting pattern right here. And if you can master that, you know, that's great. And if you can't master that, then keep working at it. I'm going to let it be living right where it is for now, and then we'll continue on. But I just wanted to introduce that if you have those questions and you're asking those questions about the guitar, you could develop a completely new specialization for yourself and carve out a nice little niche in the market for yourself. So it's, you know, it's not going to happen overnight likely, but it's something that you can make, you can get up to, you know, running speed, I think, with it. VB, what's going on? B comes, very nice. 1, 2, just a little joke there. Atul Mahor, Shape of You. Oh, cool. I did Shape of You on my channel, I think. So you could go take a look at that, I think. It's right here at Jason Carey on Guitar on YouTube. So let's do fingers 2 and 3 and 4, 10, 11, and 12. So 1 E and 2, and we'll return back to warm up. Oh yes, you could. Sky, way to do some housekeeping. If you're here and you're getting anything useful out of this, and if you think you want it, you know, I would encourage you to stick around and bring your guitar. Bring a guitar with you, and we'll walk this journey of self-improvement or guitar improvement, you know, guitar improvement along the way together. Yeah, good. That feels pretty good. Marco, yeah, it's time and place. Oh, Nirvana Lithium, yeah, you gotta love Nirvana. Please teach us scales from scratch, both theory and practical applications, maybe on your long format videos. Okay. What's the goal of this exercise? Oh, this is good, yeah. Fingers 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. On frets 10, 11, and 12. So the goal of this exercise, or of this lifestyle, of this pattern, editing this behavioral pattern into one's life. Number one, overwrites over time. It overwrites other behavioral patterns, correct? So we're editing a pattern or starting a pattern. So we're editing a pattern. So let's say, for example, every weekday mornings, let's say, I arrive here at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time to talk about warming up, a morning ritual with guitar, specifically with a growth mindset. So what else was I going to do at 7:30 a.m.? Whatever it is I was going to do with that 1 hour block of time, I am no longer going to do that. Whether it was go earn a couple $150, you know, $500, $50, $8, $20, whether it was going to earn, whether it was going to visit with a friend or spend time doom scrolling on any social media channel. Now, I'm not doing that. So whatever it was that I was going to do, that purpose is to edit the pattern. So 1E and a 2E and a TE, and let's go ahead and do 4s. 9, 10, 11, and 12, 1E and a 2, TE and a 4. I could have been spending that hour to practice my repertoire, but I don't want to practice any repertoire or do any other maintaining of building repertoire, maintaining repertoire until I have properly and thoroughly warmed up. So warming up the fingers, the purpose of another angle is, another benefit, another pro tip here is the benefit of this exercise is that you can do this at whatever speed. Because as we know, time is only relative, and you hear like plenty of well-known, well-written pieces of folk and classical music, both of the sacred and secular varieties. You hear some very long notes, very slow playing, then you hear some really fast prodigal playing. You have to be a master to play at that speed. So you also should be a master to play at slow speeds. So working through this is an attempt to work through in the morning ritual warm-up. Number one, to wake all of the fingers, to wake the mind into being the guitar player for the day. If I wait until the end of the day or just simply do not do a warm-up session, I don't have the guitar in my hand for that 260 hours a year. And then I lose all of that traction that I was gaining. I've got a little bit of a bite in the cliff's face, and I've got only a little bit of grip, and I've got just enough energy in my fingertips maybe to hang on for another 3 or 4 seconds before I peel. And then maybe I need to dial in a little more strength, so I double it up with the thumb over the top. And then I can grip a little harder and smear. And I'm really learning how to realign my systems, my body, my breathing. Every single thing is designed to be focused on this one moment in my personal history, which is also a moment in the history of all of history, right? So 1E and a 2E and a, we're working the 4-finger stretch. Scales are an important part. They become an important part of warm-up, but for season 1, I really want to approach the instrument largely with an open heart of it's enough for me just simply to move my fingers around and learn about all of the tissues and the tendons, and maybe even learn to name all of those tissues and tendons that are doing the work. Identify it as if I become super familiar with my anatomy and revisit all of those things too. But then again, maybe that's not my goal. So it has to do, I think, a little bit with your goal structure. Part of what I'm doing here and why this works so well for me and people like me is because I want to learn the guitar as an extension of my potential for expression, for artistic expression. And it's not necessarily to learn the next song that I hear on the radio, although I do love playing cover songs and writing my own songs and collaborating on songwriting potential. This is a different thing. And doing this repeatedly causes us to think about the thing that we wouldn't have thought about if we didn't take the time to do this. So there's no way in except through repetition. There's no way that I'm going to get through the door. I could keep knocking at the door could be open, but I might not be prepared to receive what's on the other side of that door. And so this is sort of speaking to like mental preparedness, right? This is speaking to, observation of your 3-foot world, observation of the macrocosm at the same time. This is it's a pretty deep study for me personally. So Angshita, I really appreciate you asking those questions. So, all right. 1 E and a 2. Hey, Craft 2. Good morning. Hi. Let's go ahead and use 1, 2, 3, 4 with the kickstand. So 1 E and a 2, 8, 10, 11, and 12. 1 E and a 2, T E and a 4 E and a. Maybe Will, the pill. Good morning. Who's your favorite actor? Mine's Johnny. Cool. Maybe another exercise. I guess it depends on who, what I had for breakfast that morning, what kind of chemical reaction that unleashes in my body, what I want to watch, my favorite actor. I'm going to think about that for a moment. It helps your timing and execution. That's a great way to say it, Marco. Yep. Reach over jet on the low E string. Oh yeah, cool. Let's do that one. Sure. We'll use that probably for like chordal movement, where we need to grab the low root note or some kind of inversion low note that would otherwise be forsaken. All right. I don't do that enough. I've seen Jason do it before on certain songs. Hey, Abhijit, give me a high five. Yeah, high five, man. Or woman, whatever. I don't know. Abhijit. Somebody gave you a high five. All right, B. Yeah, Russ Swanson, that's what we're building is motor memory. We do something, so I had a mentor for a long period in my life, the late, great Tom Hoffman, and he used to say, we want to build something from nothing. And that's just simply not the case. So we have to sort of meditate our way into like getting to that sort of like eternal consciousness or whatever, the oneness or whatever that we're all connected to, and sort of listen out of that. Or you can, if it doesn't come to you right away, you can work on, and this is perfect, Angshita, because now if you start with a little germ of an idea, that germ usually becomes something more, doesn't it? So we could start with an idea. So if we wanted to do practice, we wanted to practice hammer-ons and pull-offs, we're careful to take a look at like where exactly is the thumb, and you can see it's on the bottom end of my guitar neck, the back of my guitar neck, or the nape of the guitar neck, and then you can provide an indefinite cycle by practicing these hammer-ons, and then again pull-offs, and it's a cycle. It's a cyclical sequence like anything else. So we have the ring finger, or any finger for that matter, doing this doing this activity that's sustained. The finger hammers on as a hammer, literal hammer to the string, pull off, ring, let the string ring, and then hammer again. But the trick is to have the hammer on be the same sound pressure level or loudness as the pull off. So it's almost like when we do the pull off, that the finger is going to like lean over a little bit and then just sort of let the string slip out from underneath it. And then hammer on and then slip. Because if we pull the string down, you can hear it pulls the string out of tune. Or it pulls the string off the fretboard. So it's a circle. We have this pull and then circle up around and then hammer and then pull, circle up around, hammer and pull. So how do we accomplish this with both hands, with both digits on the fretboard? So we have the hammer on and the pull off. Now we have the hammer on moving to the pull off. While that finger is holding the previous note down, we have finger one hammering on, and then finger one hammering on, and then we have to adjust for, we don't want to be way out here to do the hammer on, so we have to adjust these little micro bursts of power. So all of this can be done without pick at all, right? So you'll notice I'm touching behind the string set just to choke out the string set, because when I come off of the string, I don't want open string noise. And a well-articulated hammer-on and pull-off could sound as close or very close to a well-articulated plucked tone as well. So those are all tonal development areas that become, in my mind, they become advancing concepts, right? So I'm glad that you're asking about that here. So let's go ahead and take a look at specializing a little bit in another, well, we're at 15 minutes right here. We could just kind of break off and start talking about hammer-ons and pull-offs as they apply to the A major scale. So who asked about the A major scale earlier? And if you did, are you still here? Because if you're not, we'll go ahead and talk about something else. Manuel Schneider, good. We try not to watch too much TV. But I do love film. I mean, we do produce films, we do like that. So another thing that we sort of do. But let's lift the hammer down, Marco, learn new complicated riff scales. Literally play it forward and backwards. That's great advice. That's wonderful advice. Definitely on scales, Marco, and different picking too. All right, so let's go ahead and try this because we started out here with E major scale, right? And I have a G, an E, and a B note, and a G. Some of you probably recognize this as like some of the open voiced arpeggios from the Bach violin or cello suites. what we would do is we just start looking at how can I incorporate an exercise, like a warm-up style exercise, based on those two chords and these three notes in each chord. Similar to the 5x5. So like there are 5 items in the list, but each item has 5 subdivisions in the 5x5 at jasoncareyguitar.com. jasoncareyguitar.com/5x5. That's a great, I try to reduce what I've been learning over the years into 5 simple steps. And hopefully that helps some of you. And we are going to be expanding on some of that. But if we start with open low E, fret 2 on the A, and then fret 6 on the D string, we have a beautiful voicing of E major. Now I can use the same, roughly the same, a similar style voicing where I have the 5 in the bass, and then the 3, and then the root. So 7th fret on the low E string, E, F sharp, G sharp. So B, G sharp, and E on the top. We could open the open high B and E string and create this really cool. All right, I'm not sure. Hopefully you guys are still with me. I guess I missed a few minutes here. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, something going on, a little snafu here. So, are you back? Thanks, Eric. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But so what I'm thinking is, like, how would I turn this into, like, Angshita is looking for, you know, ways to sort of like move from the known into the unknown. So. So one of the ways that I could, without plucking anything, if I wanted to continue hammering and only using hammers and pulls, one way that we could solve that problem is by, instead of plucking the low E string or letting it just ring drone style, we could just simply rest the thumb on the edge of the fretboard, and then hammer onto fret number 12, and that's 1,200 cents higher than the open low, or 1 octave higher than the open low E string. But if you wanted to do something, you know, more chordal and more kind of closely related to the, you know, box work with the the violin or the cello work that you contributed to. We could start by just hammer-ons and just keep the hammer-ons going. It doesn't have to be. What happens when I hammer on, especially on an acoustic guitar, I hear this end of the active string, both that end and this end of the active string. So you can hear two tones there. But when you choke that end of the string out, so choking that end of the string out becomes imperative, which means that the middle finger's got to sort of stay on the low E string while we do, and then all of these other strings while we hammer need to be muted behind them. So if I wanted to turn this, if I wanted to move from E to the A with E in the bass, right, and then when we start to do like this, we can start to expand into something else, right? Arrange our way into something else. Here's another approach to what I might consider warm-up style material. To me, there's a difference between warming up and just repetition for the sake of building a skill. The warm-up is a different function. I have to warm up before I enter and engage effectively in repetition to build a skill. So here's what a skill I would consider like a harmonic skill, which includes some other technical skills. Is number one, understanding, how is this E chord voice with an E, a B, and a G sharp? And then an A, how is this an A chord? Well, it's the 5, it's the 3, and the root note. Now, how could I expand it? So I could use number 1, I could just go above the octave. So I have the root, the 5th, and then the 3. Then I could have the root, the 5th, and then 3 above that. Could I do it down here? The root, the 5, the 3, and then the root, the 5, and then the 3 is going to be way up here, which is doable, but I think we can reduce that to a different string. So we have the root, 5, 3, and then the root, 5. So this brings us to another problematic area. How do we hammer on between multiple strings? This is another area where we would take moments or pieces from the major scale, and then, so this being the 9 and the 7, and then back to the 3, and then the root, and then the 9 and 7, and then the 3, and then the root, and then we're moving up to the 4, and then, or we're in the key of E major, and then, which is the, let's say the 7 and the root. Now let's take a look at this as relating to E, 7, and then the 5, and then the root, and then the 6, and then the 9 and 7, and then the 3 and root on the top. So now what I'm doing is I'm thinking, So E, right? So I'm thinking that could work. But hammering onto the high E string, it's a much less massive string than the G string. And then when I go to hammer onto the B string, it gets a little challenging. So what if I just started here on, oh, and then get a little closer to my index finger. So I'm moving this shape here up to an octave above, right? So an octave, I find the octave to be a really useful piece of musical information to become familiar with at all costs on the guitar. So that B up 7 frets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up 1 string is an octave, which is also a B note. So I know so now I have another problem to solve where I'm trying to get that like low E string to not ring behind the hammered tone. You know, and I tend to want to hammer on to this fretted tone, which is partially fretted, so that I can keep it quiet. That's not really what we're trying to do here. I'm just keeping that middle finger behind, resting on the low E string so that I don't hear 2 notes ringing at the same, an E and an F note. How do I make it minor? An add 9 or sus2. Jason, gonna run to set up. Have a great day, everybody. Oh, I see what's going on. It's that time. But we, you know, we're just kind of working our way through warming up with the guitar. We're warming up with the guitar, and then we're preparing ourselves for repetition to, you know, for growth. But the warm up at the same time, the more we warm up, the more ready. We're working to create readiness is what we're doing. We can't learn unless there's a state of readiness at hand. We're in that moment. So that's what we're up to. And we'll see you again tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel, and we'll be here with the live chat as well. Thank you very much for everyone who's contributing to the live chat. Wonderful time, Life on Two Wheels in Boston, Massachusetts. Good morning, and I hope you're wearing a, you know, some kind of a camera on yourself so you can obtain some proof while you're motoring through those streets. Bee-driven equipment, not sure it's skipping. All right, let's see. All right, guitar for everyone. See you, Justin. Eric, good morning, Goldman. And thank you very much. Ta-ta for now, everybody. All right, until we meet again tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I wish you a very happy picking. We'll see you again tomorrow. Bye now.